Welcome back. Cocoa farmers across Cross River State have commended the state government for its vision towards the ongoing construction of an ultra-modern cocoa processing plant located at Ikom local government area of the state. With the construction nearing completion, the farmers are optimistic that when completed and put to use, the plant will help them get more value for their produce.
Cross River State is pushing for greater economic diversity with its interest in cocoa farming. A cheering news for some local farmers in Ikom who lament of being shortchanged and exploited by buyers due to lack of processing facilities, thereby lowering their competitive advantage in the cocoa market.
Price is not encouraged. You cannot buy chemical at 500 naira per sachet for 16 liter and you sell cocoa 42,000 naira. It's not making, the price is not making anything. Business is hand to mouth.
With the building of a new cocoa processing plant in Ikom, the Cross River State government says the state will be at a vantage position for foreign exchange earnings and the making of green millionaires, as the project will meet the aspirations of farmers and provide jobs.
We work and come out empty-handed because of the price of the cocoa. I believe we'll be happy if our government will help us to finish the cocoa processing industry so that we farmers, we can be benefiting, we can be having money.
Governor Ben Ayade is excited at the progress of work at the cocoa processing plant. It says when completed and functional, Cross River State will ramp up production of cocoa up to 350,000 metric tons per annum.
We feel strongly that Cross River State has to invent a new way of livelihood. And our commitment, because of our lack and because of my capacity to bring in intellectual money to fill the gap, this cocoa processing plant is one bold justification, one bold sign that indeed Cross River State is ready to lead Africa into an industrial revolution.
The automated 30,000 metric tons capacity cocoa processing factory will transform cocoa beans to chocolate bars while retaining the structural integrity, biochemical and chemical composition of the cocoa.
In the meantime, tank farm owners in the Ijegwegba axis of satellite town Lagos say they're committing additional 600 million naira for road construction infrastructure, for their host community. The tank farm owners have also agreed to develop more infrastructure in addition to the 1.5 billion naira spent over a few years of operations in the vicinity.
By the coastal waters of Ijegwu-Egba, around satellite area in Lagos, lies these petroleum storage investments providing strategic product supply to the country. You call them tank farms. By road access, it's off the Lagos-Badagry Expressway and is graciously hosted by the satellite town community. However, with such businesses, the host wants more. And it borders heavily on infrastructure, roads, and all that. So, to properly harmonize those requests, the Tank Farm Owners Association have called this stakeholders forum under the supervision of the regulators.
We need to understand, if I put 3 billion, 4 billion, 5 billion in a business and the bank is holding me by my shirt, there are things that there are limits to what I could do. But you have the right to hold me responsible to operate my business in a way that will make your own life and property safe.
Living up to their commitment, they have before this meeting awarded a reconstruction and rehabilitation work contract of access roads worth 600 million naira to the Nigerian Army Engineering Corps. There's more in response to this meeting.
The most adjoining streets are bad. The closest and other adjoining streets are all bad. We agree, and that should have been the work of Lagos State government to do that.
The tank farms and the community, I think, why we're having this stakeholders and an engagement meeting is to make sure that we're all on the same page.
For the community we're in the process of providing roads and drainages and fixing up some of their facilities. We're going to put in some a central fire station as one of the requirements. I think we're also committed to doing some more CSR over the years, things like possibly hospitals and schools and things like that.
According to the tank farm owners, they are also partnering the Lagos State government, the federal government, DPR, and every other stakeholder to make sure that all infrastructure and things that have to do with the best practices happen around Ijegun.
Industrialized and mechanized farming will soon be a regular feature of Nigeria's agriculture sector landscape as the Nigerian incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending, Nestle, is partnering the German Agribusiness Alliance on Food Revolution. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Nestle, Mr. Aliyu Abdul Hamid, says Nestle remains committed to supporting agribusiness development in the country. He explains that through the strategic partnership, Nestle will be able to leverage on the German Agribusiness Alliance global network by attracting investments into Nigeria.
The agriculture sector is central to Nigeria's economy, accounting for 42% of the nation's gross domestic product and providing 60% of employment. However, the sector only represents 1% of exports.
Finance and investment.
It is for this reason that Nestle is partnering the German Agribusiness Alliance to redress the situation, as the managing director highlights the role of Nestle in developing the nation's agribusiness.
At the end of the day, who do we want to service? We want to service half of Nigeria's population with 21st century technology and systems to do agri not as a culture, but agri as a business. The only way we can do that is to leapfrog. Equipment capital, technology capital, and leveraging brain capital.
The president of the German Agribusiness Alliance and the head of the economic desk at the Embassy of Nigeria in Berlin speak on the essence of the partnership.
We need a complete solution. Only then we can create here a win-win situation for everybody and move forward. And but again, the last 2 days with Nirsal, with all of you, has shown us that we are moving in the right direction.
The embassy is keen into the policies of government, especially in winning investors into Nigeria. We've been doing that in fulfilling the mandate of Mr. President, especially what Mr. President is doing concerning agriculture.
Some farmers also share their expectations of the partnership as they applaud Nestle for the initiative.
We have to start believing in government institutions. When government institutions comes out to say we're going to do A, B, C, then we need to key in and participate to be able to hold them accountable.
What has happened in the last 2 days in this place is a big eye-opener, that the government is doing a lot of work through the central bank and through Nestle.
The German Agribusiness Alliance is a German business initiative of leading associations and companies in the agro-food sector. This partnership is expected to herald better days for Nigerian farmers.
Let's get more business news now. Here's Anne Wawodo.
You First. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Amarachi. Welcome to Business News. As part of plans to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty within the next 10 years, the federal government is looking to consolidate its social investment schemes through partnerships with the private sector. While leveraging technology to reach rural settlers, the partnership with human service firms is expected to create access to education and healthcare in line with the objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals Agenda 2030.
World Economic Forum. Now, what we need to improve with Empower is really plug in the back-end value chain of the private sector, of the private sector to what we do, so that we can see a lot of absorption of graduates in the program so that they can make room for more people to come into the program. And of course, we also will strengthen, because you know, in the Empower program, it's not just about the graduate program, there's also the huge skills to industry program, where we train across vocational skills, technology skills, creative skills, hospitality skills.
Connectivity in a local community can change everything. If you have internet connectivity in a community like Igbobini in Ondo State, what it means is many more people can now get access to things. Now, what is this thing that we will provide them access to ensure they can learn? So we hope to work with the telecom companies to provide connectivity within the value centers we're deploying, to make sure that everyone within those areas at the lowest prices possible can access education, can access healthcare, can access different services from the value center that we're deploying in their local government.
The Group Managing Director of Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the NNPC, Mr. Mele Kyari, says plans are underway to make Nigeria a net exporter of refined petroleum products by the year 2023. To actualize this objective, the corporation says rehabilitation work on the nation's refineries have begun, as well as support for other private initiatives and the establishment of condensate refineries to fast-track domestic supply of refined products.
Is to scope what is needed to rehabilitate the refineries, to bring them back to their nameplate capacities before we begin to operate them. Failing to do that, we will be taking crude and sending into the refineries only to be destroying value. So that's the essence behind the rehabilitation program, on which we are pursuing vigorously. We have commenced with the Port Harcourt refinery, and from there we move to Warri and Kaduna, respectively.
Now let's check how the stock market. It has gained an additional 134.62 billion naira at the close of trade today. Investors are still intensifying bargain hunting for low-price stocks. Let's join Edidiong Ewang for the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. It's a second day of rebound for stocks performance at the exchange as investors sustained bargain hunting for high-value equities at the close of today's trading session. The all-share index closed Thursday by almost the same margin recorded in the previous session, largely on gains from the NSE's most capitalized stock. In sectoral performance, the banking sector contributed the highest gain of 2.54%, followed by consumer and industrial goods. Now look at this. The banking sector's performance is evident on the list of top trades as Tier 1 lenders Zenith and GT Bank topped the chart. About 268.26 million shares worth 4.36 billion naira changed hands in 3,300 deals. Eterna is top on the gainers list, up by 10%, while computer equipment company NCR led 12 losers, down by 10%. Well, that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Edidiong Ewang. Back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Edidiong. Well, outside our shores, U.S. stock markets have ended Thursday's trading session mostly lower. Investors are still waiting for the key speech from the Federal Reserve's Chairman Jerome Powell on Friday. But let's see how they all closed today. Thank you for watching Business News Tonight. I'm Anne Nwawodo. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Amarachi.
You First. First Bank.
Thanks, Anne. Still ahead on the news at 10, French President Emmanuel Macron rules out renegotiation of North Ireland backstop plan as he holds Brexit talks with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson in Paris. And coming from our London bureau is Around the World in 5. Please stay with us.